In Bob Nightingale's report, he writes, and this is the direct couple sentences here. While John Mozeliak, president of baseball operations for the St. Louis Cardinals, plans to step down after the 2025 season, special assistant Chaim Bloom is expected to have much greater authority next season, perhaps even become the top baseball decision maker. So, look, I think this is really smart if that's what happens for the Cardinals. Okay. And a lot of people, we've talked about this basically all season long on this channel when I was doing the show, Low Hanging Fruit with Brendan Schaefer. Look, we all know John Mozeliak is under contract through 2025. You have Chaim Bloom there. He's a guy who, if he wants to be a chief baseball decision maker, whatever that title is, whether it's a president of baseball ops, general manager, different teams have different titles. But what I'm trying to say is, I think it's fair to say this is a coveted guy, right? So if he's going to be the Cardinals' top executive in the future, there are other teams that would want his services as well. And so this offseason, if there are other teams and they're saying, hey, we want to interview Chaim Bloom, this and that, it makes total sense for the Cardinals to just set up this succession plan for John Mozeliak. And look, this is something that all smart businesses do, right? We're focusing on baseball, but look at other sports, but look at just businesses in general, right? If you have a CEO or a CFO or whatever it is, oftentimes that person doesn't just boom retire and then they have an open interview session to replace that person. That's not how it works with big time businesses and corporations. And that's what we're talking about with the St. Louis Cardinals. We're talking about $1 billion industry of baseball, and it's a huge job. It is a big time job. It is a coveted job to be the chief decision maker of the baseball ops department, whatever that title is. Right now, it's president of baseball operations for John Mozeliak. So it makes total sense to set up that succession plan, right? Like the show Succession, great show. So look, here's what you do, and I think it makes total sense. I think it should happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think this also makes total sense. Basically, John Mozeliak doesn't have to retire a year early. They can come out, they can make an announcement, and they can say something like this. Look, Chaim Bloom is going to be our top baseball executive moving forward, starting specifically in 2026, but he's going to have a much larger role in 2025. And John Mozeliak, who is still under contract, is going to be there to help him. And look, it doesn't even matter how you write the press release. Okay. I think Chaim Bloom should be the chief baseball decision maker in 2025. And maybe he will be. But also, we know John Mozeliak has been here a long time with the Cardinals, essentially his entire adult life. We're talking 30 years. The DeWitts love him. And I know a lot of people like to bag on John Mozeliak, and I've criticized him, I think, fairly a lot over the last several years. But let's also remember that John Mozeliak has done a lot more good than bad, big picture with the Cardinals. I know the first half of his tenure much better than the second half. And look, there's a lot of personnel decisions, developing who to trade, who to keep, all those types of things, puzzling roster moves in terms of sending guys down, bringing them back up, and all that. And we'll get into all that. But I think it's also fair to say, big picture, John Mozeliak has been good for the Cardinals for his entire tenure. On a personal note, John Mozeliak always was very good and fair to me. And anytime I've ever criticized John Mozeliak, it's never been personal at all. We're just talking baseball here. Baseball is big business in St. Louis. It's a huge deal. It's a huge job. And look, when John Mozeliak was great for the first 8, 10, whatever years, I mean, we all just gave the man glowing compliments. I mean, he was the toast of the town. He was the toast of baseball. He was one of the top executives in all of baseball. I remember some some different surveys and all that back in the day where he was right up there, top 1, 2, 3, whatever it was in baseball. If you look at the run, obviously from 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, when the Cardinals had great success. I remember seeing a survey earlier this year where they asked who's the top baseball executive. And somebody let me know. I think it was I can't remember who did the survey. Maybe The Athletic. Let me know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't think John Mozeliak was in the top 16 of baseball execs for that same type of survey that was out there this year. So I'm going on a tangent. What I'm saying though is this is how a smart business, this is how a smart baseball ops department should run. They should set up the plan. They should give the guy a year buffer with Mozeliak helping out. Even if Chaim Bloom is going to be the man next year, John Mozeliak can step aside a little bit, but still be there. I mean, there's a lot of things John Mozeliak knows about the Cardinals, and look, maybe he has input too on we should keep these guys or some other people that maybe need to move on. We need to do less analytics, more analytics, our field staff, this and that. It just makes perfect sense. Look at the St. Louis Blues, by the way. Look at the announcement they made. Was it earlier this year? My concept of time is not great anymore. I'm blaming COVID for that. But when they made their announcement about Alexander Steen, they essentially set up the succession plan for Doug Armstrong. And I don't remember the exact specifics. I listened and watched the press conference, but I think it was something like, look, whatever Steen's title is right now with the Blues, assistant to the general manager, whatever it is. I don't know exactly what it is. I can look it up, but it's something like that. And then he's going to basically take over as general manager and take that off the plate of Doug Armstrong, whose title is the president of hockey operations, but also general manager. And then obviously, you would assume that down the road, Alexander Steen takes over the chief decision making job of the St. Louis Blues, whenever that is. However long that contract is for Doug Armstrong, 3, 4, 5 years from now. Again, I don't remember the exact specifics. I'm going off the cuff here, but it's something like that. So I think it makes perfect sense. Again, if this is true, if this is the way it's going for the Cardinals, and some people just jumping on now, we have 49 people watching live. I appreciate that. So just to catch you back up to speed as we're 11 minutes in here, Bob Nightengale wrote a little blurb, USA Today, and he said, while John Mozeliak, president of baseball operations for the St. Louis Cardinals, plans to step down after the 2025 season, which we all knew, by the way. The question is more about what happens for 2025. So special assistant Chaim Bloom is expected to have much greater authority next season, perhaps even become the top baseball decision maker. That's from Bob Nightengale. I hope that happens. I think it makes the most sense to happen like that. Again, other teams are going to want to hire Chaim Bloom. And look, we talked about this a lot on our radio show when we had one, but you know, I don't think this wasn't this big conspiracy theory about Chaim Bloom. Chaim Bloom fell into the lap of the St. Louis Cardinals at the perfect time when the succession plan was already starting, right? And when it first was announced that John Mozeliak said, "Look, I'm going to be here 3 more years." So go back, that's what? Was it 23, 24, 25? So spring training 2023, I believe. And he says, I'm going to be here 3 more years. Okay. And then, so you're thinking, all right. So 2026, you would think there's going to be a new top decision maker for the Cardinals. And we all wondered and speculated, could it be Michael Gersh? Could it be Randy Flores? Whatever it is. Okay. So that's spring training 2023. Then go to last year, basically, where the Red Sox fire Chaim Bloom. And remember, Chaim Bloom was very good with the Tampa Bay Rays on a budget. We know the Cardinals like to operate their team on a budget, not to the level of the Rays, but like they like to be fiscally responsible, draft and develop. Chaim Bloom is also known as a pitching guru and a bullpen guru, and the Cardinals bullpen has been very good this year. Basically, the bright spot of the team, Helsley leading the way, but also some other guys, Ryan Fernandez that you didn't necessarily expect to have big time years out there. And I'm not even trying to give all that credit to Chaim Bloom. Obviously, Ryan Helsley is the main reason. And Ryan Helsley's been here for a long time before Chaim Bloom. I'm just saying generally speaking, Chaim Bloom is known as a pitching guru, a guy who's able to locate, develop, and assess pitching, and to do it on a budget. When I say a budget, look, the Cardinals spent around whatever it is, $200 million, but the Cardinals aren't a team that want to go out there and give the $200 million contracts in free agency. So it makes sense. Look, if I'm Chaim Bloom, I'm like, I was working on a budget with the Rays, and now I have another smart baseball operation. Typically, look, the Cardinals, DeWitts, Mozeliak, big picture, are usually a very smart and well-run baseball ops department. It has not been that way for the last couple, 3 years, whatever. You want to go back to some of the bad trades. I agree with you, but usually the Cardinals are a well-run baseball ops department. So I think it's a perfect fit. What I'm trying to say is, look, if you go back 2.5 years or whatever it was, spring training of 2023, the Cardinals probably thought, I'm guessing, the DeWitts thought or Mozeliak thought, it's going to be a Gersh or maybe Randy Flores replacing John Mozeliak. Maybe we stay in house. I think it also, it's pretty obvious the Cardinals have in-house issues for drafting, developing, decision making. I think it makes sense, even if it wasn't Chaim Bloom. And who knows, maybe it's not. Even if it wasn't Chaim Bloom, I think it makes total sense for the Cardinals to go outside of the organization for this position. That's no disrespect to Gersh, Randy Flores, like both those guys, respect both those guys. I think this organization needs outside eyes. And I'm including Chaim Bloom, even though he's in the organization right now as outside eyes, because he just jumped in here as an advisor the last year or so, right? He's he's outside eyes. He comes from different organizations, Rays, Red Sox. Here he is. So I think this makes total sense if it goes this way. I think it's the way it should go. And also, Cardinal fans right now want blood. And I hate to say that because I do like John Mozeliak. I respect John Mozeliak. But I think for ticket purchases, I think for momentum rolling into 2025, there does have to be some type of announcement of bigger change. And I think this would be enough. If, and again, I don't care exactly how you write the press release, right? You don't have to disrespect John Mozeliak. But if the understanding is that John Mozeliak is sticking around, but Chaim Bloom has much more authority and it's a timeshare or he's the chief decision maker, Chaim Bloom, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think that appeases a lot of fans. By the way, you shouldn't necessarily always make decisions to appease fans, but I think the fans are actually right this time. The fans were more accurate than the media, by the way. I think, look, I said, I can't remember what I thought the Cardinals were going to win 82, 83 games. I said shot at the playoffs. A big part of that is I think most people thought the Brewers were going to be worse, but I had so many comments here on YouTube and Twitter and people saying they're not going to be good. They're not going to be good. And again, your definition of good right now, I think they're on pace to win 82 games, to go 82-80. So they're not bad. They don't suck. They're not great. They're mediocre. They're average. They're fine. Whatever your your term is for good or your win total, the Cardinals, they're okay, right? They're decent. Are they good if they finish with 82 wins? I don't know. I don't even want to get into that semantics argument. But what I'm trying to say is it is clear when you watch games, when you see the pictures, and I'm going to go to Busch this weekend at least once, maybe twice. So I'll see it up close and personal about the lack of fans there. And that'll be the final homestand of the season. And I'm going there to see my buddy, Dan Puente, who's the assistant hitting coach of the Guardians. I'm just saying that because I'm not really going to watch the Cardinals. And look, any other year you'd be super excited to watch the Cardinals late September, final homestand. Even if they weren't going to make the playoffs, if they had a shot at the playoffs, those games would be packed. People would be excited. Or you're getting ready for an October in St. Louis playoff baseball. So, look, the fans want blood. They want change. And I think a lot of them want John Mozeliak to step aside. I think it's enough. That doesn't mean John Mozeliak needs to resign. And that's not going to happen. And I don't think. And I don't think the DeWitts are ever going to fire John Mozeliak. But I think an announcement needs to be made or an understanding needs to be had that John Mozeliak is starting the process of stepping down, and Chaim Bloom is going to have a huge role in 2025, and then potentially Chaim Bloom takes over full time, whatever that title is, president of baseball operations in 2026. So there you go. Have a ton of questions, comments. I purposefully didn't read all of your questions and comments because I wanted to do my little rant, my little spiel there. And I think I touched on everything that I wanted to discuss, which basically is this is smart. If it happens, it's the right thing to do for any baseball team, any sports organization. The Blues just did this with Alexander Steen. Any company, any successful corporation, doesn't matter if you're the Fortune 500 company or you're a small owned family business, right? If somebody's getting ready to retire, and they say, hey, maybe I have 2, 3 more years left. Hey, let's elevate this guy into co-VP or CFO, whatever. And the plan is for him or her, whoever it is, to take over when I officially retire 2 or 3 years from now. So there you go. Okay. Let's go to some questions, comments. By the way, of course, always support our sponsors, Triad Bank, St. Louis Lawn Care, St. Louis Equipment, Corner Butcher and Chop House in beautiful Fenton, Missouri. Okay, here we go. Sandwich Man, Bernie has been talking about Bloom for a hot minute. I think he'd be a great fresh start as president. I agree. And look, Bernie's great. I'm glad that Bernie's on YouTube also. I think it's a great move for him. His baseball content is top notch. I always said that when we were teammates at 590 The Fan. And a lot of his content, we'd put it on this channel here as well and some other 590 content. Yeah, look, this is not exactly breaking news. I think most people thought this would be the way the Cardinals would go, especially with the team trending down the last couple years. Look, if the Cardinals would have been winning 95 plus games and making a couple deep playoff runs, folks wouldn't be saying we need to go outside the organization, right? Because the thought would be, hey, this organization is running fine. Let's keep it in house with a Gersh or a Randy Flores. Last year was awful. This year's very mediocre. There's a downward trend. I don't like to always say it's a downward trend since 2015 because it's almost like, look, 2013, right? Cardinals make the World Series, 2014 NLCS, 2015 100 wins, playoffs. Then they had the 3 years they don't make the playoffs. 2019 they make the NLCS. It hasn't been good since, some playoff runs, but when I say runs, I mean just a series out quick. But it's a downward trend, whether you want to say for a decade or 5 years, whatever it is. I don't want to argue with that. It's something there, but it's a downward trend, and the Cardinals should go outside of the organization. And Bloom fell right into their lap during this succession plan. Sometimes I say, is it succession? Not like you're seceding from the Union like it's the Civil War, okay? I don't speak perfectly, and plus, like I said, I'm a little under the weather. Okay, I'm going to blame it on that. Sandwich Man, heck yeah. Let's see. Arthur J. Judah. I can't wait. I think that's Mo has to go, please. Yeah. Look, I get it. I'm not mad at Mo. I like Mo personally. I think he's been more good than bad for sure. Helped his team win a World Series, bunch of deep playoff runs. I think it's time to move on. It's time to pass the baton. It happens, man. This is professional sports. You know what? Everybody will be a little butthurt for a year or two. Everybody will forget. A couple years later, John Mozeliak comes back, throws out the first pitch, does all the interviews. Everybody remembers the good times. This is big business, people. It's sports. This is how it is, right? Look, the Blues, remember, Doug Armstrong had to fire Ken Hitchcock, and Ken Hitchcock didn't want to be fired. They're still buddies. Ken Hitchcock came back to be part of the organization as an advisor. This is how it works, man. This is how it works. It's the big leagues, man. To quote the late, great Tim McCarver. Let's see. Sandwich Man, could Doug Armstrong just switch from Blues to Cardinals in 2 years? How about that? You want Doug Armstrong with a great hockey background to just start being a baseball guy. Hey, I like outside the box thinking. I'm sorry, Mo, but professional differences have developed and retire this year or you're fired. He deserves no more than Schilt received. Okay. I do think Schilt was done dirty. I don't think it was 100% not on Schilt. I think Schilt played a role there. But yeah, I get that. A lot of people didn't like the way Schilt was treated. That's fair. Sandwich Man, I just think the Mo fatigue with fans is too great to keep him as the top guy. I agree. It sends the wrong message to the fans. I agree. An announcement needs to be made, a press release. I don't care how you write it. You don't disrespect the man. You honor what he did. You say he's sticking around. Chaim Bloom's going to have more authority. Whatever it is, let the fans know a change has been made. Let's see. Dr. Zoom, he inherited a great franchise that Jocketty and Luno built. Walt Jocketty and Jeff Luno. Yeah, I mean, John Mozeliak was really good too, though. And I understand you can say, okay, once Luno left and those drafts went away, the product got worse. That's fair. That's fair. I think John Mozeliak made a lot of good decisions for the first 10 years or so. Last 5 to 7, not a lot of great ones, but some good ones. I mean, look, Arenado trade, Goldie trade, even this season. I thought they needed another front end starting pitcher, but Sonny Gray, you like that? One of Kyle Gibson or Lance Lynn was good. They needed another top end guy, but this season was more about the offense crapping the bed for the first month or so. It's hard to blame Mozeliak for that. There's a lot of things you can blame Mozeliak on for. And also big picture organizationally, look, there's a clear trend of position players especially leaving this organization and being much better elsewhere. Cardinals have not been good the last 5 to 7 years at picking the right, especially outfielders, to keep and who to trade. Let's be real about that. We all know that. Seth B, he's officially a special assistant. Basically, he's being trained to be the GM. I think you're talking about Alexander Steen there, my previous comment. Bill Downton, he is the second longest running Pobo in baseball. Only Cashman at New York has been longer. How about Cashman also? When's the last time Cashman and the Yankees won a World Series? Is it 2009? Sometimes you got to shake it up. I'm not saying that Brian Cashman has been bad. Yankees are usually good, but it's been a long time since the New York Yankees won a World Series. 2009, right? 15 years. I mean, they're usually good. Let's see. Hold on. Sandwich man. One time I was driving down 44 and I look in my rearview mirror and a big red Jeep is about 2 feet off my tailgate. It was none other than John Mozeliak. True story. I don't know if that's, I believe you, but I'm not going to get into these people's driving habits, okay? I need to read these before I put them on, just in case you guys don't defame someone or curse. We can't be demonetized. We need to make money on these videos. Part of that, Triad Bank, St. Louis Lawn Care, St. Louis Equipment, Corner Butcher and Chop House in Fenton. Okay, here we go. Jeffrey Jordan, is that Michael Jordan's son? Is that the one that was in trouble with remember that recently? I'm sure it's not this guy. I thank the Cardinals very much for firing Mike Schilt. He is a great manager and has done an outstanding job with the San Diego Padres. This comment comes from a native San Diegan and a Padres fan. Thank you, Jeffrey Jordan. Let's see. Here we go. Mark Canapa. Canapa. Charlie, given my 40 years experience in change management and strategic planning, this transition plan makes perfect sense. A good business move, in my opinion. We need real change. I agree. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Baseball, business. Yes, for sure. Fly Navy 73. DeWitt is a bigger problem than Mo. He is the one who decided to cut costs by stripping minor league infrastructure. He is the one that has allowed every aspect of the team organization to deteriorate. I'm not even going to say this. I heard a rumor at the gym about Cardinals ownership. I'm not even going to say it. I shouldn't even have brought it up. Basically, the rumor was of a change of ownership of the Cardinals, which I don't think actually is going to happen. So I shouldn't even have brought it up. But it came from somebody who says he knows people. So I'm not even going to get into the specifics. You wonder if I'm the DeWitts, Bill the Third is a young guy. Doesn't he want to keep the franchise? I would think keep it in the family. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know any of these things. All right. Here we go. Dr. Zoom, 82 wins is bad for this franchise. That's fair. We have a higher bar in the Lou, and we should. Let's see. Sandwich Man, prolific in his comments. I'm okay with them keeping Mo around as long as they make it clear that Bloom is the new leader. I agree. Okay. The Redbird Farmhands. Is this actually happening or just speculation? If you just joined in, I'll say it for the third time. And I'm not being sarcastic when I say that because people jump in on the live stream. We have 68 people. I think that's our top concurrent viewership. I was basically reading a Bob Nightengale blurb, report, whatever you want to call it. I'll read it for the third time. I'm not trying to be a jerk here because I want you guys to know why I'm talking right now. So he writes, Bob Nightengale, USA Today. While John Mozeliak, president of baseball operations for the St. Louis Cardinals, plans to step down after the 2025 season, Special Assistant Chaim Bloom is expected to have much greater authority next season, perhaps even become the top baseball decision maker. So I think that's fair to call that a report, that Chaim Bloom is expected to have much greater authority next season, perhaps even become the top baseball decision maker. So, I mean, is it speculation? First of all, we've all speculated about it. Bob Nightingale's plugged in. I know he's not 100% right. I think it's okay to call that a report, right? Is that fair, you guys? I'm trying to be fair here. Ray Biersdorf, I'm hoping for a new manager, someone from outside the organization. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Ollie is the problem. I think it's more DeWitt's, Mozeliak. I don't think Ollie's done a bad job. I mean, this team, they keep fighting, right? They haven't quit. I don't think Ollie's necessarily a great manager. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's the main problem. If they moved on from Ollie, if Chaim Bloom wanted his own manager, I would get that. I'm okay with Ollie coming back next year, especially if you change out Mozeliak for the most part. That's enough change. Give Ollie a year. Maybe Chaim Bloom likes Ollie. I don't know. I don't think Ollie is great. I didn't think Ollie should get a contract extension before the season. My issues with Ollie, I think he bungled game one of the playoffs a couple years ago. And I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. I don't think it made any sense to publicly dress down Tyler O'Neill. I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. How many homers does Tyler O'Neill have? You basically had to trade that dude for a bucket of balls. The pitcher you've already freaking DFA, and I don't remember his name. So my two biggest issues with Ollie. He mangled game one of the playoffs, but also that was his first playoff game. I'm not trying to be unfair, right? Taking out Quintana early, I think that's judgment call, fair to criticize. And then asking multiple innings from Ryan Helsley after he just had the finger issue, right? These are 100%, and not having pitchers ready to replace Helsley before it was too late and he lost the game. I think Ollie's a little chirpy in his post games, right? But I like that because it's entertaining. A little condescending here and there, which I wouldn't like if it was to me, but it is entertaining. So I can't be too mad about that. What do you guys think? Like I said, I'm pretty neutral on Ollie. Like I'm not anti Ollie, never have been. I think I'm pretty fair. Let's see. Do 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 do. Mike, hard to believe Mo's ego will let him take a backseat to anyone. I don't know. I think there was an interview that Mo did with Martin Kilcoyne that we put on this channel. I don't remember when it was. So if you want to go back, there was a video interview, there was an audio interview. It sounded like John Mozeliak was ready to step aside. It did. It sounded like he was ready for a break. He even said something about, you know, being able to take a vacation. I don't remember the exact words. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but there was an interview that he did with Martin that we put on the channel in the last couple months, 2, 3 months, and it sounded like he was ready to step aside and let someone else take over. And it's clear the fans want him to, right? Like these are your customers, man. I like John Mozeliak. I think he's done more good than bad, but it's time to move on. This is the big leagues. This is big boy stuff. Sometimes it doesn't work out. It worked out for many years. It hasn't worked out for the last couple, several years, whatever. It's time to move on, John Mozeliak. It's all good. I like John Mozeliak. He's always been good to me. Sent me a nice text when I got out of TV. And anytime I see him around the ballpark, which is not very often because I don't go very much, but he's always friendly. So let's see. Couple more comments. Rockin' 7. When will the team try to get better? Great question. I mean, for this team to get better, though, it's about drafting guys and developing guys and trading guys in the minor leagues for other guys who are going to be great Cardinals 2, 3, 4 years from now. Hopefully, the Tink Henses and Quinn Matthews step up. I still am very high on the Cardinals group of position players, these young guys. There's a lot of guys with a lot of talent. I don't think they're going to have the year next year where they start the year where the whole team sucks offensively. I can't see that happening. Let's see. Justin Kramer, no, it's sports hypothesis. Talking about, is this a report? I mean, Bob Nightingale reported this. Everybody speculated about this, right? Everybody. I mean, we started talking about when Chaim Bloom was announced as an advisor, whenever that was that early, was it spring training or winter, whenever it was, winter before the season? Everyone on earth speculated there's a good chance that Chaim Bloom takes over for John Mozeliak, whether it was 2026 or now the discussion about will he be the chief decision maker 2025. All right, here we go. Kim Velker. Kim, how are you? Kim, the lovely mother of my friend Austin Velker, who used to be the board op on the morning after. Great family. Kim, I'm leaning towards Mark DeRosa. Ooh, for manager. I like that. I like Mark DeRosa. D-Row. Great guy. Smart baseball guy. Fun to be around. Good vibes. He's a good vibes guy. How about Jackson McNeil? Jackson McNeil doing videos on the channel here. Very happy to have Jackson McNeil on board. He says, the thing this organization needs is real change. So if Bloom is going to be in charge, he needs to be able to hire his guys. If that means Gersh, Flores aren't fits, he needs to bring in new guys. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Mark DeRosa, why? Look, I don't think Ollie's the biggest problem, but Mark DeRosa's gonna be a manager someday for somebody. Didn't he interview with the Mets a couple years back? Was that when Carlos Beltran got the job and then everything came out with the Astros? I think that's the case. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going off the top of my head. And then he managed Team USA in the World Baseball Classic and maybe wasn't the greatest in handling pitching there, if I recall. But I still think Mark DeRosa is a great baseball guy. When I say a vibes guy, look, a huge part of being a manager now is meeting with the media 5,000 times. These guys do this all the time. And it's also a brain trust between the field staff and the front office. I just think Mark DeRosa would be good in that sense. Another part is also it's hiring good people, right? The Cardinals coaching staff, do they add value? Remember, a lot of these guys are the guys because other guys didn't take the jobs a couple years ago. If you go back to Mike Maddox leaving relatively unexpectedly, Jeff Albert leaving unexpectedly, Matt Holliday taking the job and then not taking the job, and everything that happened last year with the new coaching staff. And then the offense was horrible for the first month or so. It seemed like it took forever to get guys out of these slumps. It does sure seem like every outfielder that leaves St. Louis is much better elsewhere. These are real problems. These are real problems for the Cardinals. So yes, they gotta change a lot of guys. I'm not saying it all has to happen this offseason. Maybe it does. I think Mozeliak needs to hand the baton to Bloom this offseason. You've already had Gary LaRocque retire, if that's what he did. I'm not sure. I'm not an insider. I don't even care to ask. I don't want to say I don't care, but whatever. Um, Ollie, I actually I actually would want new offensive staff. I'd be fine with Ollie staying and some new hitting coaches personally. I think that's enough. That's enough change, don't you think? Let's see. Ollie ain't the solution from Rich Grisham. That's fair. I think that's fair. I don't think Ollie's also the biggest problem. Okay. Sandwich man, what about Pujols or Yachty for manager? Do you see that happening at some point? Oh, I mean, I would love that. For content, I would absolutely love that. I mean, Chaim Bloom doesn't have the relationship with Yachty and Albert that Mozeliak did, right? Is that something Chaim Bloom wants to, does he want to start with a beloved generational Cardinal that has more juice than him with the fan base in Yachty or Albert? That's tough. That's tough. Where is Yachty, by the way? Did Yachty ever show up? That's hilarious. Let's be real. It's hilarious that Yachty literally just didn't show up all season and he was supposed to be a coach. Is that true, right? Did he ever show up? I'll be honest, I have not paid as close attention since the Cardinals stopped really being in contention. And then once we had the radio show and it ended, obviously, like every day we're watching Cardinals when we had the radio show. I've kind of checked out a bit. I blame the Cardinals for that because they're not very good. I also blame myself. All right. Let's see. Outside the box thinking. Charlie Marlow for manager. Yes, I agree with that. I'll take the job. Charlie is high. Not right now. Not right now. I'm high on water with a little bit of caffeine. See, it's actually purple. You can't see that, but it was more purpley until I refilled it. Little caffeine boost, little packs. You guys use those? I'm a big fan of those. Let's see. Jackson coming back. Oh, hold on. Not sure Yachty's a fit. The team couldn't get him to show up to his job all season. Yes. And that's hilarious, by the way. Like, it's hilarious. Come on. I love Yachty. It's hilarious that he essentially forced John Mozeliak to give him a job because he did some interviews with, I think, Puerto Rican press and said, yeah, I expect to have a job. And then John Mozeliak was like, well, we hadn't really talked about it. And then a couple days later, there was a press release of Yachty being the special assistant who literally didn't show up the entire year. That's hilarious, folks. That's hilarious. If you can't find the humor in that, there's something wrong with you. That is one of the most hilarious things ever. That Yachty essentially, I don't know what he's paid. I don't even remember what his title is. Yachty got a job, forced his way in, which is great. I would do the same if I was Yachty. And Yachty, he has so much juice with the fan base. Yachty can do whatever he wants. It's amazing. Remember, like his last year, he went and he did the basketball thing with his team in Puerto Rico. No one called him out. And look at Ali. Did Ali call him out, by the way? No. You can't call out Yachty. You can call out Tyler O'Neill for running 93% of his top speed, but Yachty can do whatever he wants. And honestly, I don't even care. It's hilarious. It's freaking hilarious that Yadier Molina did not show up all season. It's just amazing. And it's a microcosm of what's going on in the organization the last couple years. It's just amazingly funny. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Charlie is high. This is what Rich is saying. That was in regard to the Ollie is not the problem comment. I get it. I don't think Ollie's great. He's not the biggest problem. Change Mozeliak, change drafting, developing, offensive staff. I think you can win with Ollie. I'm not saying Ollie is Terry Francona. And get rid of Ollie. I don't care. I really don't. I don't think Ollie is great or bad. I think he's fine. Maybe he'll be great. I don't know. I just don't think he's the biggest problem. Let's see. Danny Boy, the Iowan. If they hire Bloom, watch out for Rocco Baldelli as the next Cardinals manager. Justin Kramer. Whatever happened with Okendo, with Jose Okendo, the secret weapon? I always wanted to see Okendo get a shot, even if it was an interim. I always wanted to see Okendo get that shot, even if it was for half a season as an interim manager. Never happened. Rich Grisham. The Cardinal organization has a traded places with the Blues organization. Yeah, but neither. Look, I love these teams, but neither have been very great the last couple years. I think it's fair to say the Blues, Cam Jansen said this when we did a live stream. I do think the Blues have at least a plan in place that you can believe in, right? But also, if the Blues paid all that money, if Jordan Kyrou is never a really, really amazing winning player with a salary cap, it's going to be hard to really win at a high level. But I think it's fair to say I believe in the Blues plan right now more. I believe in Doug Armstrong, big picture. He hasn't made the greatest moves the last several years either, as his first 5-10, whatever it is. He brought a cup here. We'll never forget that. But I think I believe in the Blues plan more. That being said, if the Cardinals move forward and the press release comes out, Chaim Bloom stepping up, whatever the new title is, John Mozeliak stepping aside a little bit, I will believe in the Cardinals plan much more when they make that announcement. Is that fair? Okay, let's see. Here we go. Sandwich Man. As soon as Bloom takes over, Ollie will be gone. Just wouldn't make sense to keep him as manager then. I don't know. Still a little under the weather. I apologize for that. I don't know. I don't know how. I have no idea how Chaim Bloom feels about Ollie. I don't even pretend. I'm not an insider. I'm never at the field. They don't even give YouTubers. I'm a YouTuber. They don't give, even if you have millions, you could have millions of people that watch your channel, and they don't give you credentials because MLB is stuck in the Stone Age when it comes to media. They don't understand that podcasts and YouTube and digital media are arguably, I don't want to say more important, but right up there in terms of eyeballs, listens, and all that. It's just true. It's just true. Let's see. Here we go. Sandwich Man, the Blues have a plan. They seem way more transparent with the fans. That's true. Blues have always been better about just directly, because Armstrong's like that. He speaks directly. He's like, hey, I'm good. I suck. Whatever. I've been bad. Management's been bad. Coaching staff's been bad. Players been bad. He's a straight shooter. John Mozeliak's a pretty honest guy also. I think that's fair to say. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Rich, the Blues will surprise you this year. I hope you are right. Mike, I think the secret weapon should have gotten the job after La Russa retired. Sure. Hey, you can go back in time, and it's a great hypothetical. I have no idea. Matheny inherited a great team, won a lot of games, deep playoff runs, but I think you could have done better than Matheny. That's certainly fair to say. Let's see. Mitchell Biquette. Don't think the team will be good next year, but if Mo actually leaves, I think they got to just clean house, including Ollie. Not that it's his fault. DeWitt's got to get fans back, and fans hate him. Haha. Yeah. Do fans hate Ollie? I want to do a poll on that. Because I'm curious. Let's see. This has to happen at season's end. Do you think Carpenter is hitting coach? I have no idea if Matt Carpenter wants to be hitting coach. I have no freaking clue. Do you get the $5 beers at Busch Stadium when you go? I'll tell you what, Sunday. I'm going Sunday. I'm going to be drinking. I think my buddy's coming with me from Peoria. We're going to hang out with my other buddy, who's the Guardians assistant hitting coach. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that he's drinking. I don't know. He'll drink water, okay? But we're going to be hanging out after the game. Rich Grisham, what about the Cardinals farm system? When's the last time the Cardinals developed a legit starting pitcher? Great question. What about Andre Palante? Hopefully Tink Hence and Quinn Matthews are the answer to that. When's the last time the Cardinals developed a legit starting pitcher? What's the right answer there? Let's just throw out names. Waka, Carlos Martinez, Lance Lynn. It's a long time ago. Are those the last legit starting pitchers that ended up being Cardinals, not Sandy Alcantara and Zach Gallen, right? Is that fair? So was the last legit one Carlos Martinez? Is that probably true? Who am I missing? I don't have the greatest memory. Waka, I think. Mitchell Biquette. So Waka started in 2013. Lynn came up in 2011. Carlos Martinez was a reliever in 2013. Didn't Carlos Martinez have better starting seasons later than Waka? I know he made an all-star game or two. So whoever the answer is, it's either Waka or Carlos Martinez in terms of guys that stuck with the Cardinals. I think that's fair. Look it up. Let me know. I could look all these things up, but you guys know, look, I just kind of go off the cuff here. I'm not looking these things all up as I go. I don't know everything. I'm not the most plugged in. I like to have fun with you guys and talk baseball. And Joe Kelly as a starter, though. Shelby Miller. No, Shelby Miller was before. It's got to be Martinez, Carlos Martinez, or Michael Wacha. But we hope the answer is Andre Palante or Tink Hence or Quinn Matthews moving forward. Whoever the answer, whichever, Mitchell Biquette. Correct. Too long either way. Haha. Well said. Guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up pretty soon here. Thank you all for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. If you're watching right now and you haven't, hit the subscribe button. Just press that subscribe right now. Boom. It's free. It's easy. It's easy peasy, right? Thank you to Triad Bank. Best thing I ever did for my rental property business, switching all my commercial loans from a big national bank that doesn't care about me to a beautiful local bank in Triad Bank. In Frontenac, there's a location in Creve Coeur. I go to Frontenac, triadbanking.com. I mailed in my payment today. I usually go, but today I said I'm going to mail in my payment. But Triad Bank, best customer service ever. St. Louis Equipment, stlmowerrepair.com. Buy a mower, Skag, right. They'll fix your mower. Small engine machines. I have a Crest battery-operated trimmer. I have a Husqvarna blower. Great. STL Equipment, St. Louis Lawn Care, mulch, all that. They do it. Aeration, bug control. And then Corner Butcher, grilling. It's grilling season, baby. And then Chop House, they're in the same building now in Fenton. They moved to the same building. I think I'm going to Corner Butcher tomorrow and Chop House. All right. Let's see here. Couple more. Here we go. We'll go past 50 minutes. How about that? We'll go at least 2 more minutes. Sandwich Man. Weren't the Cardinals pushing for Palante to be a reliever, and Palante had to speak up for himself and prove that he's a better starter? Kind of embarrassing that the Cardinals couldn't see that. Yeah, there's a lot of things like that of the Cardinals not being great. How about Zach Thompson? Whatever happened to him, right? Reliever, starter, just up, down, blah, blah, blah. Jaime Garcia. Yeah, that was a little earlier. Jaime Garcia is one of those guys where until you look him up, you don't realize how good he was until you go back and look at his numbers. Also, how much money he made? A lot. I can't remember what it was. It was more than I thought. Here we go. Ghostface Gaming. First base, Burley. Second base, Donovan. Shortstop, Wynn. Third base, Arenado. Contreras catching. Newt, Ciani, Walker, Gorman. Bench, Scott Baker, Sajasi, Pajes. Rotation, Gray, Scherzer. Scherzer has to end up as a Cardinal at the end of his career. It's just the way it should be. Although, do you want that now? He's older. But for business, it's good for business content. Max Scherzer needs to be a Cardinal for at least 1 year. I'm sorry. He just does. Okay. Oh, Flaherty. There you go. Let's see. Joe Madden is still my dream manager. Jack Flaherty. I think that's fair. Kim Velker, Jack Flaherty for a while. Yeah, I think, look, Jack Flaherty, didn't he finish third in the Cy Young, whatever year that was, 2019? Jack Flaherty was definitely a front end starter and certainly is now. So I think that's fair. I think that's fair for sure. How about this? Ghostface Gaming. Max Scherzer signs 1-year deal and retires a Cardinal. I love that. I love that. They have enough old guys between Michaelis, Matz, Gray, whatever happens with Gibson. Lynn, is Lynn going to retire on the injured list? Was that his last time ever pitching? I don't know. So it is what it is. It is what it is, folks. That's what people say when they have nothing else to say. And I'm pretty much at that point. Sandwich Man, why is Michaelis still in rotation? Payroll politics, I guess. Yeah. And Michaelis should not be gifted a spot for 2025. I think we can all agree on that. Ghostface Gaming, I take Skip Schumacher as manager if he's available. Move on from Ollie. Yes, I would too. Again, I don't think Ollie's the biggest problem, but if you told me we're bringing Skip back over Ollie, I would sign off on that for sure. All right, let's shut her down. We're over 50 minutes. Thank you so much, everybody, for jumping on and commenting and subscribing and liking and all that. And oh, look, I did that by accident. Need to have one about who we trade. Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do all these things. We'll do a bunch in the offseason, man. The offseason is going to be more interesting than the season. Let's be real. I may turn this channel, by the way, into a Cleveland Guardians fan account for October because I'm a Guardians fan now, and I want them to run deep. So I think I'm going to be following the Guardians, hopefully watching all the games. So maybe I turn this for 1 month if it's that long. We want the Guardians to run deep. I may turn this into a Cleveland Guardians fan account. Okay, let's see. I'll read a couple more. Daniel Warden. I don't know why, but I want Scherzer to be a color commentator on Bally's after he retires. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. John Hartfield. Mo was pretty good for 10 years, inherited a lot of good pieces. Tony, Albert, Yachty, Adam. He's not replaced them. Talent evaluation is poor, and he fired good manager for pettiness. He's run his course. I agree with that. It's time for Mo to move on. Big picture. Icarus. Charlie, I like that you aren't a Cards homer and therefore are usually fair and objective. I try to be. Folks. I try to be fair. Also, go to Triad Bank, but also everybody settle down if you like news and politics. That channel's growing, baby. I'm going to do a live stream with Eric Messersmith at 2 o'clock Central Time today. I just noticed also my battery's about to run out because I didn't plug in my charger. So I really got to get going here. One more. Jay Renegade Rides. What if Mo has meticulously planned this out perfectly? Next year, his final year, the Cards go deep. That'd be fun. That'd be great. That'd be a great way to end the John Mozeliak tenure, which has been more good than bad, but not great lately. Okay? Here we go. I keep going. Ghostface Gaming. Go Cardinals. Let's get back to postseason next season. Let's go. Yes. And here we go. Jay Renegade Rides. That's the copium I tell myself. You got to cope. Sometimes you got to take copium. All right. Thank you. I'm officially done now. 53 minutes. Comment, like, subscribe. Press that subscribe button right now if you haven't subscribed. I'm a little under the weather. And once again, thank you to Triad Bank, St. Louis Lawn Care, St. Louis Equipment, Corner Butcher, and Chop House in Fenton. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Love you all. End Stream.